How's it going, everybody? Coming at you once again. It's a beautiful Friday. Storm rolled in and it's been pouring rain all night. I love it. Oh, I grabbed a nug of the Bubba Kush of mine. Gosh, that just has such a taste. Love it. Love it. So, reading the news yesterday, I was going to cover this yesterday, but I ended up with 20 million things I had to get done yesterday, so I was a very busy bud grower yesterday. But coming back today, I figured I'd just go ahead and just cover what I was going to cover yesterday. I already had the news done. It turns out that Reform California, ReformCA, has actually starting to put in their, call it quits for their initiative. They're going to be joining the team of Sean Parker, which a new proposal backed by Napster billionaire Sean Parker has altered the course for statewide legalization. It's called the Adult Use of Marijuana Act of 2016, and several of the Reform California board members have announced they are no longer going to support the Control, Regulate, and Tax Cannabis Act of 2016. Instead, they are joining forces, like I said, with Sean Parker in hopes that other initiatives in California or members of boards would do the same. As it stands right now, California has 10 initiatives being pushed for legalization of marijuana. And with 10 initiatives out there, that's literally 10 competitive issues being brought to everybody that can really be confusing after a while. Reform California is hoping that by them joining with Sean Parker's initiative, which is largely funded by Sean Parker, we already know this guy's a billionaire because of Napster and what he brought with Napster. Being funded so well, it's going to be one of the biggest pushes out there. And if other initiatives were to do the same thing and just join in forces, we could get it done for sure 2016, no questions asked. Now, ReformCA found that after review of funds, that it would be costly to continue their initiative, and it made more sense to join one that was perfectly worded and heavily funded. Like I said, this guy's a billionaire. He knows business, he knows words, he knows how to write out statements and write out bills and write out contracts. That's what this guy's made of. That's what he's learned to do. Now, the amendments submitted by the Parker's group include protection for children so that you can't have your child taken because you smoke marijuana. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that fears that parents face is if I smoke marijuana, I can kiss my kids goodbye, even though I do it after they go to bed. The workforce, one of the biggest fears that anybody faces is I can lose my job for testing positive for THC. Well, it is a medical thing, so why is it other people can take medicines and don't lose their jobs? And small businesses. Lots of small businesses out there that just, the owner smokes. He doesn't want to lose his business just because he smokes. He's got a lot of stress on his plate. He's a small business owner. Large business come in, moved in next door, and it's taking all his business. Now he's got to smoke a little bit just to ease his tension. But he doesn't want to lose his job or lose his business just because after work hours. It's like I wouldn't want to lose my job because I do that after work. So Reform California, let's hope everybody else out there sees it your way and joins you guys and joining Sean Parker. Get this stuff legalized. This stuff needs to be nationwide legalized. I say Sean Parker and the ReformCA can take their group, rename it to Reform USA, and go from there. You guys are funded by a billionaire now. Now, the two groups together have been working on a united front, as they call it, to prevent competing measures from reaching voters. So basically, out of the other 10 initiatives that are out there, they're trying to make sure that they are the only initiative that really is going to come out in the vote of 2016. So that's awesome. I mean, in the ways of legalizing for California, this is a big step. Just like Maine had their two initiatives that joined forces to become one initiative and one wording. And, they did that there in Maine. And now Maine's looking to legalize next year for sure. No questions asked. In fact, I think they've even informed have already legalized in some ways. So literally, you are looking at legalization just by groups joining together. Marijuana can bring people together. But moving on from California, Illinois actually legalized for medical marijuana as of November 9th. And since November 9th, their opening day, shops have served 1,713 patients and sold $801,000 worth of cannabis in the first month. $801,000 worth of marijuana. 10 years ago, those shops would be looking at life in prison and considered drug lord kingpins. With wholesale sitting at about 7% tax rate for each sale, the numbers show that Illinois has collected roughly about $56,550 in taxes of marijuana. So literally, Illinois is looking at $57,000 in taxes for 1 month worth of sales. That's a pretty good amount of money. I mean, when you put it to the fact that these are going back to roads, these are going back to schools, these are going back to uh, helping the community, that's a big change of pocket, big pocket change right there. $57,000 in tax rate revenue that goes back to the state from marijuana. And other places want to say, let's keep it illegal? With now 16 shops licensed by the state, the figures show the average retail price per gram is roughly about $14 to $15 each. So literally, these people are paying $14 a gram to $15 a gram, and they are being that's probably including taxes. So you're looking at the 7% tax on probably $10 a gram or $12 a gram, bringing it to $14 to $15 a gram. So these people are paying pretty good money for, a little bit of herb, and they get to go home and smoke it as a patient. Come back and buy more the next day or a couple days. I mean, it's the same thing that's been going on for years here in California, going to shops and medically getting in. We're trying to make it recreational where anybody can do it. Colorado already has it recreationally and has already seen large amounts of tax revenue moving in for them. Illinois has large tax revenues. Washington is a smaller revenue because they have less shops. Same with some of the other places. You're looking at a large tax break for the government with medical marijuana and recreational marijuana. Large tax break. This stuff can be fed right back into Social Security, can be fed back into Medicare, can be fed back into helping the homeless, can be fed back into getting the homeless off the street so they're not homeless. I was taking a ride downtown here from my town here not too long ago, and I see this shop has the little little walls and everything, and no kidding, 8 sleeping bags filled with one person each sleeping bag, laying there sleeping, all homeless. Have some people up here, up the way here by a hotel that lives in this field. I've watched, and we watch them build their tents up and tear them down each day. Do we really need stuff like this while we imprison marijuana smokers every day? I mean, I'm not saying imprison the homeless. I say remove the bars from the jails and say, hey, free shelter for the homeless. Transfer the main criminals to real places. Take us little. Well, you got caught smoking marijuana? Toss them out of jail. They don't need to be in there and learn criminal activities and become criminals just because they smoked marijuana. That space, you can take those bars off and let the homeless live there. So here, you can even register them if you want to. All you gotta do is sign in this piece of paper, John Smith. Register John Smith. We have a John Smith that looks like that? Yes. In the end, it really doesn't take much to actually get things going right. We got a lot of tax breaks, tax revenue coming in from, marijuana sales. We legalized throughout the whole nation. We could be seeing good things. Sorry, I'm suddenly getting distracted because I want to pack another bowl before I sign out of here. Got a few things to do. I'm actually thinking about heading off to Disneyland this evening. One thing I love about rainy days is that everybody literally leaves Disneyland and it's 5-minute wait times in the rides. I love it. So usually on rainy days, I try to go to Disneyland on rainy days. I have an annual pass. So if any of you guys are going to be at Disneyland, maybe I might see you guys there. Who knows? But like I tell you guys, educate before you medicate all the time. Stay medicated. You all have a peaceful, positive, and productive day. Coming at you guys.